Aloha everybody, this is Captain John from Think Ocean, where we'll talk about all aspects of the ocean in hopes of making it a better and healthier place. Aloha everybody and welcome to Think Ocean, where we talk about all things ocean. Nowadays everybody's just talking shark. Episode on whales, everyone's going no sharks. Should I do it on sea turtles? No, John, do it on sharks. How about epic surfing stories? No, sharks. Everybody wants to know about sharks. So albeit, let's do it about sharks. Let's talk some interesting facts about sharks. One interesting fact is they're full of piss. That's right, their urine is stored in their bodies when they have to compensate for different salinities in the ocean water. If they need to be more salty, because the ocean around them is more salty, they retain their urine in their muscles. And if they need to go up a river to kill an unsuspecting swimmer off a pier, then they need to be less salty and then they urinate. No, they won't kill you off a pier. Well, they might, I don't know. Anyway, there's some good stories about that. Anyway, I'm getting off the beaten path here. I don't mean to make it sound like sharks are unsuspecting man-eaters. Let's get back to them holding their piss in their body. So they have their, but let's call it urine, okay? And it's actually called urea, and it's made from the breakdown of proteins. You get urea. Human beings like us and all other animals really have to excrete that. Sharks are one of the only animals that can hold this toxic urea in their bodies and still live. Ugh. Yuck. I mean, oh, God, they just sound gross. But they're not. They're really cute, adorable animals. Let's talk more about them. Another cool fact is sharks have 2 penises. Yes, 2. I don't know what I do with my one. It's very complicated. Having 2 would just be mind-boggling. But yes, they do have 2, and they're called claspers. And a typical romantic gesture by a male approaching his mate. She looks very beautiful with her menacing teeth and blood all over her, I'm sure. Anyway, he goes up to her from the back and he bites onto her back. And then he inserts his claspers into her cloaca, and then they do the deed by rolling around, and he's biting on her back, and it's a very bloody mess for her. Sharks have no bones. Their body is made of cartilage, which makes them separate from other bony fish, like tunas and things like that, like that catfish you catch in the river, and then you go home and eat, and you're picking out all those little bones out of your teeth. Sharks, if you were to eat one, you would just, there's only cartilage in there, so you wouldn't have to pick them out of your teeth. But again, you probably don't want to eat them because their muscles are full of piss. Okay, rays and skates are also sharks. But what I'm talking about here is, those menacing sharks with teeth. Those are the ones we're going to start more describing. All the characteristics that I talked about so far will relate with rays and skates. They're all sharks. They're in the same class, chondrichthyes. But the sharks that I'm talking about are like tiger sharks and great whites and bull sharks and things like that. And they're slightly negatively buoyant, and they have to keep swimming to stay buoyant. If they were to stop swimming, they would sink. Another reason that they have to keep swimming is because they have to force water across their gills. They can't automatically oxygenate their gills. They have to force water through by swimming around with their mouth open and oxygenating their gills that way. But let's get back to their buoyancy here for a minute. That's why they have these big, giant pectoral fins. Those are the ones that would come out of like the shark's chest area, close to the head. And they're real big and they stick straight out. Now, again, that's because the shark is negatively buoyant, just slightly. It's kind of neutrally buoyant, let's say, with just a very slight negative to it. Again, it has no heavy bones. It only has cartilage, so it's a lot lighter than if it had heavy bones. Also, its caudal fin, that's the one in the back. The upper lobe is much bigger than the lower lobe, and that helps guide the shark in a kind of head upward position as it's swimming and gliding along. Another way a shark compensates for its buoyancy is by having a very oily liver. The liver of a shark makes up about 20% of its total weight, and it's just full of oil. So that's interesting, about these sharks. Yeah, so these teeth, boy, they're really menacing and daunting looking, and they got rows of these teeth. So as soon as the front one falls out, another one, boop, pops back up right in its place. As a matter of fact, the shark's entire body is one tooth. The scales on it are made of the same composition as its teeth. Its whole body is a bunch of little teeny teeth, and it feels like sandpaper. If you were to brush up onto one real hard, it would cut you like sandpaper, and you would have abrasions and maybe be bleeding. And these sharks, they're really hard to see. They sneak right up on you. They have counter shading. That's why most sharks, they have on their upper body is a light gray or a dark gray, and underneath it's white. So if you're looking up at a shark from the bottom, let's say you're a fish down there on the coral reef, and you look up and the sun is coming down, it's kind of white, and the bottom of the shark is white, so you can't even see it, and it's looking down at you. Or vice versa, if you're on top of a shark and you're looking down at it, everything's kind of dark blue and kind of grayish and brown, and it just mixes right in. So they're really hard to see. It's called counter shading, where the shark is dark gray or light gray on top and white underneath. And these sharks, they can see you before they can even see you. And they do that with the ampullae of Lorenzini. Yeah, it's this magical thing that they have. And it's in their nose, in their snout area. And there's all these little pinholes. And each side little pinhole is kind of like an electromagnetic sensor. And it can sense electromagnetic pulses from very far away. And, tell the state of the animal. Is it calm? Is it injured, hurt, whatever? All by its beating heart and the electromagnetic senses that the animal sends off, that shark can sense through its ampullae of Lorenzini. Now, I'd like to call this ampullae of Lorenzini the shark's AOL, because it's sensing that electromagnetic stuff, kind of like America Online, It's kind of like, the shark senses it, and then it hears in its, head, you have mail. Yeah, no shit, the shark is coming to eat your ass. That's what's in the mail. Get out of the water. Okay, look, I know I'm kind of being a smart ass and joking around a little bit about sharks and stuff, menacing teeth and their bloody faces and all this kind of stuff. But the fact is that, we threaten sharks more than they threaten us. The likelihood of a human being attacked by the shark, you have a greater chance of being struck by lightning. And I know not everybody's going into the ocean and stuff, but if you do add up the numbers of people worldwide that are in the ocean every day, the likelihood, again, of those people being attacked by a shark is slim to none. I've been in the water active for every day my whole life since I was a young boy, and I've never been attacked by a shark. And neither of any of the people that I really know closely. I do know of some shark attacks, but with nobody that I know personally. So the odds are with you. So again, we are more of a threat to sharks than they are to us. They reproduce slowly. There's a big overfishing problem with them. People want to catch them for sport and throw away the meat, and other people want to catch them and throw away the meat and just take their fins. This is a big problem with shark fin soup that you guys can look up online and help fight. They play a very important role in the underwater community. They eliminate fishes from overpopulation and dominance of a reef. So we have fish diversity, and they do that by eating them. They eat the sick and the old and the dying and the ones with diseases and that are sick. And if they didn't eat the ones with diseases, then those diseases would spread throughout the reef, and all the fish would have the disease, and maybe other facets of the reef would catch these diseases and viruses that sharks eliminate. So they keep the fish species healthy and the populations at a workable number, and they also keep the oceans clean. And here's a great interesting fact: if you think that's all a bunch of blah 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 horse crap, and they eat the fish and that's how it works, and unfortunately that is how it works, but here's a great interesting fact, okay? Sharks don't get tumors. It's not a tumor. Who's that? That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Remember that movie? I love saying that. Everybody, let's do it. Ready? It's not a tumor. All right, but anyway, sharks don't get tumors and they don't get cancer. So the secret to cancer, whether it be prevention or maybe a cure or causes, why don't they get it? Maybe we could do that to ourselves. Sharks could hold the key to cancers and tumors. Wouldn't that be miraculous? So let's take care of the sharks, let's respect them, and give them their space in the beautiful blue oceans. And again, by protecting sharks and being aware of them and the reasons that we need to take care of them, we're going to make the ocean a healthier place, and we're going to be good stewards of the ocean, and that's what this program is about. I want to thank you all for listening and bid you a fond aloha from the big island of Hawaii.
Hope you are all enjoying listening to the Think Ocean radio podcast about sharks. I'd like to share with you now some interview clips from my good Hawaiian friend Chico Mahi and 13-year-old Pablo about their different perspectives, which are very similar actually, on the tiger shark. And I will give proper acclaim to two women who lead the way in shark conservation and research. The following clips are from our video titled Tiger Sharks of Kona, Hawaii. Please check it out and check out our other educational video documentaries on YouTube channel Think Ocean. If you like the videos, please give it a thumbs up. Share the videos with others that are interested in the marine environment, and please subscribe. It would mean a lot, and it would help out a lot. Now, let's get back to the podcast on sharks.
Hey, how's it? Good morning. Aloha. My name is Chico. Come from the Mahi family. The mano is the part of Amakua, which is a tiger shark. And I respect John for doing all that stuff. He's, a good brother of mine. He goes diving. He even showed me how to dive. So now I'm a diver too. I go diving with them.
Yes, it's always good to see you, Rada. Chico, tell us about the tiger shark and its Amakua and its significance to the Hawaiian culture.
The tiger shark is, they call it the mano, which is part of our Hawaiian culture. And the Amakua is part of our God, our family, and we respect them a lot. And I also thank John for respecting it a lot too, and showing people about what Mano is about, and it's within our family. Like for instance, my grandma, my mom told me, my mom Hannah Mahi told me about my grandma and her Bepang Lupihis with her sisters, and my grandma fell in a cave and she fell on two sharks. The sharks brought her out of the cave, and she walked off the sharks, and that was the mano, the tiger sharks. I guess they was sleeping, and just so happened she fell on the sharks. So, my mom told me that she just seen my grandma Mary Hulihe'e Mahi walk off a shark, and that was pretty cool. And I respect them, I respect them for doing that.
The sharks will take care of you maybe sometimes.
Oh yeah, I've been around a lot of sharks too. I go longline fishing, and I came across this big shark, like the size of a full-size truck. The head was, and was all tangled up with our line. Was like 5 miles of our line all tangled up on the shark, and like from 10 p.m. at night till 4 in the morning, we untangled the whole thing, rolled the shark around. I was petting the shark. It was a big tiger shark. I seen all the stripes on it. It was like, I stepped back when I first seen the shark came up to the boat. That was gnarly. That was really big. But I understand that was Mama Kua, so we untangled the whole shark. My captain actually told me, "Is this your Amakua?" And I said, "Yes, it is." He said, "Well, get over here. We're going to untangle this shark." So we did. And then his Amakua was the Honu, which is a turtle. And his Amakua, we got tangled up too afterwards. Like a month after, we had a big turtle. Call it a leatherback. And was all tangled with our line. So we had to untangle that because that was his Amakua. So we did. We took that up, just to respect the ocean, we did all that.
And how do you get your Amakua as a Hawaiian? Does somebody give it to you, or is it just comes natural?
It comes natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I have in my heart of being that as my mana, as my Amakua, and that's what I like, in my life. It's my spirit. And then like my brother, he does the taro, which is the kalu, and that's his spirit, and he's like part of the farm, the Hawaiians. We have a lot of things like the hueo, the honu, the manu, the io. Everybody has an Amakua in Hawaii. Manu is part of my spirit. But I've always been around the ocean all my life. And I love it. It's good. I would like to see people have respect for them. Because they're out there, they're out there cleaning up the ocean for us. And we need something like that. We clean the ocean, but they also feed by accident, people. It's because they go diving, they catch the fish and with a spear, and blood gets all over the place, and they're hungry, and they just don't mean to eat you, but they do. I thank you for everything, John.
Mahalo, Chico.
Brother. Aloha.
Right on, brother.
God bless.
I'd like to thank Chico for that candid talk on Hawaiian culture and sharks. I'm about to introduce you to Pablo. He's 13 years old and he goes scuba diving with tiger sharks. But first, I'd like to shed some light on two extraordinary women that lead the way in shark research, understanding, and conservation. First is a fine young woman by the name of Ocean Ramsey. Ocean Ramsey brings attention to sharks by actively free diving with tiger sharks and great white sharks. She has been known to freely swim with deep blue, known to be the largest great white shark in the world. Her work helps us understand the fact that they are not undiscriminating man-eaters or monsters of the sea. They're just sharks. Just sharks. And to the legend of shark research and our modern day understanding of sharks, Dr. Eugenie Clark. For many decades, Dr. Clark was a professor of marine biology at the University of Maryland. She did decades of research diving and programs with many esteemed institutions such as Scripps and Woods Hole. She joined Jacques Cousteau on his voyages of shark discoveries and helped bring to life the fact that some sharks don't need to move in order to breathe. Her 1969 published book, The Lady and the Shark, brought worldwide acclaim and began the process of our modern-day understanding and respect for sharks. I have a book titled Shadows in the Sea, and I had the pleasure of meeting her in 1988 and asked her to sign the page with her picture on it. To show how far we've come, the section of the book about her is about her tiger shark raising program. You see, she had a large sea-fed aquarium, and she was successfully raising tiger shark pups. People who lived in the area in the 1960s thought she was some sort of shark witch and poisoned the tank and killed all the juvenile tiger sharks dead.
The tiger shark dive is one of my favorite dives because it's one of the only places where you can see the tiger sharks and the dolphins swimming together. You'll be diving and you'll see a pod of dolphins. And like 30 seconds later, you'll just see the tiger shark like swim out of the blues. Before my first tiger shark encounter, I was a little nervous. I didn't really know what to expect, but I realized like really fast that they're more curious than they are aggressive. They're not like the beasts that people think they are. My favorite thing about going on the tiger shark dive is probably seeing the jacks. They're like super huge, about 90 pounds. They come right up to you like you're not even there. You'll see like big uluas. It's kind of like you are a fish. Like they don't see you as like someone like swimming by them and they swim away really fast. They'll actually swim at you and like try and figure out what you're doing in the water.
Brought to you from the Kona coast on the beautiful big island of Hawaii, this is Think Ocean. Captain John presents Interesting Ocean Facts. Welcome to the Think Ocean Dive Deck and Interesting Ocean Facts. And this episode's interesting ocean fact is that sharks are older. They've been on this planet longer than trees. I mean, come on, than trees. I heard this the other day when I was listening to a podcast with one of my favorite surfers. It was actually his vlog, Koa Rothman. Okay, surfers are very interested in sharks. And he's talking to a shark expert. And the shark expert is talking about the marvels and how great sharks are and everything. And how we should respect them and we should and all this kind of stuff. And then he just threw out that fact. He says, you know, Koa, sharks have been around longer than trees. And Koa, why, wow. And I went, wow, that's, you know, and I looked it up. And it's true. Trees have been on the planet for about 385 million years. And sharks have been on the planet for 450 million years. So how long have these animals been around? All right, let's go with the very first animal ever on the planet, and that's in the ocean. The top three are in the ocean. Awesome. The first one is a sponge. Sponges showed up as animals. They are animals at 760 million years ago. Wow, that's a long time. Okay, next are cnidarians. That's like jellyfish and coral are all cnidarians. And they showed up about 580 million years ago. And third are fish, which sharks come from at 530 million years ago. From that 530 to 450 million years ago is when the first sharks showed up. Wow, that's really old. So technically, they're the third animal to show up on the planet. Wow. Okay, I'd like to cut now to a clip from my YouTube channel, Think Ocean. If you haven't been there, please go to YouTube, type in Think Ocean, it will come up. Please check out my videos. We're making awesome ocean education videos, and if you like them, please subscribe. It's very important. I'd love to see you all on that channel. You'll get notifications when we have new videos coming out. But I want to cut to a clip of our very first video, Tiger Sharks of Kona, Hawaii. Let's see the clip. Today, we're learning more and more about these magnificent animals, the shark. But believe it or not, there was a time not too long ago that just that very word, shark, evoked your deepest, most primal fears. But the times are now upon us to learn and understand and appreciate these animals, the shark. For without them, marine ecosystems and large populations of marine animals, such as dolphins and seals, who doesn't love those, will be in peril. Prehistoric? Yes. Sharks' ancestries, their cousins, date back 450 million years ago. And believe it or not, the shark has changed very little in the last 150 million years. That's because their bodies are designed magnificently for survival and life in the sea. To quote the greatest ocean explorer of our times, Jacques Cousteau, the shark is serene. The shark is savage, yet always beautiful. You know, sharks are just about older than everything on the planet. Remember, we started this conversation with sharks are older than trees. I mean, come on, crying out loud here. That's a long time ago. Let's talk about some animals and find out how long other animals have existed after sharks, okay? Sharks before all these other animals. Arthropods showed up about 419 million years ago. And those are lobsters and your favorite pest, the cockroach. Then we have insects, which showed up about 412 million years ago. Yes, those pesky insects, like mosquitoes. Oh, I think I got that one. Reptiles showed up 320 million years ago. Mammals, 210 million years ago. They were here with the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs lived for about 165 million years, and they went extinct 65 million years ago. Whales, everybody loves whales. Whales showed up 50 million years ago. And then us, humans, we showed up 200,000 years ago. And boy, are we making an impact. Yay, humans! All right, let's stop finning sharks, catching a shark, cutting the fins off, throwing the rest of the animal away. That's no good. Let's stop catching them for sport. You know, people have this opinion, especially people that like to fish out in the ocean, that sharks are just trash, all right? They're the third animal to show up on the planet. They've been here for 450 million years. We've only been here for 200,000, and we're about to make them to go extinct. That's not cool, folks. And here's a very interesting fact about sharks. Sharks don't get tumors. They don't get cancer. It's not a tumor. Remember that? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's my impression of Arnold. Okay, but sharks don't get tumors, they don't get cancer. And sharks live a very long time. The Greenland shark, they suspect, lives well over 200 years. Tiger sharks, for example, are 50 to 70 years that they can live. So when you're killing one of these animals that is large, at maturity, you're killing a very old animal. Just in itself, that's not right. Okay? There's something that we could get from sharks. They're no tumors, no cancer, and they have a very long lifespan. So let's all appreciate sharks. Let's love sharks. Keep the oceans clean, keep them healthy, stay safe in the water. Remember, go check out my YouTube channel, Think Ocean. Please like the videos and subscribe if you do. And until then, aloha. My name is Captain John.